There's nothing to worry about, folks. I'm here to help. Why would a grown man have his own Superman suit? Sure, I play dress up and I have other superhero outfits and cowboy suits, but Superman has always had a special place in my heart and in my life. He is who I wanted to be when I grew up. As a kid, I followed his adventures, and probably like you, I wore a bath towel around my neck when I flew around my bedroom. When I grew up and I was forced to put my cape away, the desire to be a hero never left me. Everyone told me that was not really possible because I was ordinary. But I never felt ordinary. Sometimes the temptation to be ordinary is very strong because an ordinary life places fewer demands on you. It requires less thought and creates lower expectations. But remember when you were a kid and you had your cape? You had powers beyond those of mortal men. You knew there was evil in the world, but it could not stand or prevail against you. Somewhere, somehow, we let all that superhero within us fall asleep. We've pushed him so deep into our psyche that we laugh now when we even remember that at one time we thought we could be great. We thought we could be super. But do you remember when you were a kid and you wanted to be Superman? Imagine that kid with a towel. That better, more heroic you is still there, waiting to be needed, waiting to be called upon, waiting to say, this is a job for Superman. I keep these things here to remind me whenever I walk into my office that there is a Superman inside of me, a hero wanting to do the right thing no matter what. Think about where Superman came from, an orphan, his home world destroyed. No one else in the universe like him. No one he could relate to. He was truly a man alone, yet with all of this, he knew that none of this was an excuse for a life lived badly. Imagine all of the things that had to happen in a specific order and at a particular time in order for Superman to have made it to Earth to even become Superman. Parents with the foresight to get past their own trauma in order to save their son. His spaceship had to find Earth and land at the right place and at the right time so that he might have been found by the right people. Variable upon variable, truly amazing. Well, the same is true for you. So many things have influenced your life to make you who you are today. And with so many things influencing your life, it is hard for you to feel in control of anything. Well, that's not superhero thinking. You are the only you on the planet. In your own way, you are as unique as Superman. The series of events that helped shape you is nothing short of a miracle. And to throw that miracle away on an uninspired life borders on criminal. So you've had some bad or tough times. Have you ever known Superman to use the fact that he is an orphan as an excuse? Of course not. He never forgets his tragic loss, but it's also not something that he obsesses on or uses to rationalize his own bad behavior. He might have been tempted. It is easy to use the past as a way to explain bad or selfish behavior today. But in order for you to be the best you that you can be, you can't fall into this way of thinking. You, as a superhero, need to place the past in the past and see the future as the place you really want to go. Learn from the past, but keep your eyes on the future. You need to recognize your weaknesses. Superman has an amazing array of powers, but he also has his weakness, kryptonite. We all have our weaknesses, maybe a short temper, maybe shyness, maybe an addiction problem, or some destructive person that you're drawn to. If Superman refused to accept that he had a kryptonite problem, he would be a lot easier to defeat. But Superman wouldn't do that. Don't you do it either. Recognize and identify your weaknesses so that you can make a plan to overcome them. So, do you have people in your life that you consider your mortal enemy? Well, maybe not a mortal enemy, but maybe someone who doesn't like you and is very bad at keeping that a secret. It's not easy knowing that you are on someone's bad side, but you can't let that impact your self-esteem. To be the very best that you can be, you must realize that not everyone is going to be a member of your fan club. Superman had Lex Luthor. You have the guy who wants your job. When you are doing nothing wrong but still have people trying to undermine you, remember that these people see themselves as the hero. They don't see themselves as the problem. In their eyes, you are the bad guy. You are the one keeping them from getting what they want. When you see things from the other person's perspective, it can be the key to your eventual victory. But don't buy into their vision of you. Understand that if you had their background and their experiences and were surrounded by the people they are surrounded by, you wouldn't like you either. A superhero doesn't hate his enemies, but understands them, and he uses that understanding to defeat them. Most people don't remember that in Superman's early adventures, being able to fly was not one of his powers. Remember, being able to leap tall buildings with a single bound. Living the superhero lifestyle means always looking for ways to better yourself. This might mean taking a night class, a motivational course, maybe learning a new language. But see yourself now as the seed of what you are to become. And always look for ways to grow, because when you quit growing, you begin to die. You become stagnant and life becomes a bore. Since Superman's first appearance in Metropolis, a lot has happened to him. But nothing was going to prepare him for this. When a creature named Doomsday came to Earth, destroying everything in its path, there was only one man who could take him down, even if it meant giving up his own life. Remember the death of Superman? It was in all the papers. Is there a way to deal with your inevitable last day? Probably not. But what you can do is live life to the fullest every single day, and don't let a moment pass you by. If there's someone in your life you have bad blood with, take the time to make amends. And above all, remember this. Superman is not Superman because of his cape or his tights, not because he is from Krypton or because of any of his superpowers. Superman is Superman because he walks the walk. He is Superman because no matter what the world throws at him, he remains true to his character. To be a true hero, you have to do the same. You have to be known for your character more than for your clothes or your job. You must live a life that you can be proud of. There is a Superman within each of us. And you don't need the suit. You need to recognize that he is there and begin living the life of a superhero. And be that hero to your family, your children, to everyone you come into contact with. Make it your goal that everyone who crosses your path is in some way enriched by the experience. Do this and the world will recognize that you are truly a Superman.